when you started to walk out at the UFC Apex, they started to tell this story. And before the fight even got started, I was immediately hooked. They were talking about how you relocated to Canada from Mexico. And they were talking about that it wasn't of your own sort of will or wishes, but more of you were essentially forced to evacuate the country. They said that and correct me if I get any of this wrong, but they said that your family had sort of been threatened by the cartel member, and that your family actually told you you're going on a vacation and moved everything. Is that all true? And can you tell a little bit more about the story? Because I think that aside from fighting, I mean, that in itself is like worth a movie, you know?
Yeah, yeah, everything is truth, it was really hard. So, I was 14 when we moved, 14 and a bit when we moved, and I had my life. Well, you think you have your life there as a teenager, you have your friends, you have your school, you have, it is what right? And yeah, so that happened. Of course, my dad didn't want to tell me and my sisters, because we will probably make it very difficult, right?
Mhm.
Obviously I don't want to move to a different country, right?
Yeah.
So he had to tell us something, which that was, we're going to Disneyland for vacations, right? I didn't even want to leave Mexico to go to Disneyland for vacations, because I don't know, it was something, I was smelling something, but I wasn't thinking, oh yeah, he's gonna take the whole family and put us in a different country. Like, who does that, right? I know. And then so okay, let's go to Disneyland, and we get to the airport, and all the sitting is Vancouver, Canada. And then I'm like, excuse me, that's not Disneyland, right? And then he's like, oh, we had to do a stopover, something like that. He say something, or my mom say something. I was like, okay, fine. But when I jump in the plane, I can feel something, the energy is not quite there. And I was crying, I think it was 5-6 hours. I was crying the whole way, because I wasn't sure what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
We arrived the next day. I'm still crying the whole time. The next day, I'm like, okay, tell me what's happening, right? Clearly, this is not Disneyland, right?
Yep.
And then he's like, well, we're moving here. This is our new place. And then he's like, okay. Then, of course, I cried for so long, like 6 months straight, maybe a year. And then I was refusing to, I was like, as soon as I am 18 or whatever, I'm out of here, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's how it happened. And it's been a roller coaster ever since, because, it's never easy. And we're still working, we're still, going at it. But I'm here, they're doing great. My sisters are great. So I think that's the best decision that they ever made, for sure.
So when you arrived in Vancouver, did your parents sort of tell you the extent of how they were threatened and why they needed to move, or did they just say that they wanted to move? I mean, 14 is still, relatively young to drop a bomb like that on, a child. Were they honest with you? I mean, it sounds like you had the intuition to say something's not right here.
Yeah. They didn't tell me straight up like that, but they just like, it's not safe, like things happen. And then when I was a bit older, like that's when I kind of knew the full story. But yeah, that was pretty much.
And had you spoken English before you arrived in Vancouver, or did you arrive in Vancouver only knowing Spanish?
No, I didn't speak any English. My parents didn't speak any English. My sister didn't speak any English. We were just we were just communicating with, this and that. I want that, stuff like that.
Yep.
We show up here and we don't have, well, I couldn't work, but my dad didn't have a job. My mom didn't have a job, no English, no school. So my dad has been always really, like he's not scared to do things to improve his life, or he has to feed. We're four kids plus my mom, right? So he has to work. He started painting, and he's not a handyman, he's more like a business kind of thing, like selling stuff, buying stuff, but with no English, that's really difficult, right?
Yeah.
So he started like painting, painting walls, painting houses and stuff like that. And he never done that in Mexico. We were lucky. And then they sent him home the first day of work. At lunchtime, he came back with his little lunchbox, really upset because he couldn't, do like painting,
Yeah,
he never done it.
Not a painter.
Yeah, he's not a painter. And then so that happened, and exactly that day we went for a walk, and we were going to businesses, or saying like, we clean cars, my dad clean cars, me, him, just trying to explain them that we wanted to clean their car, and he needed a job and blah blah blah. So after walking, because we couldn't drive when we first got here, we were just walking. Finally someone gave him job, and he started working there. He was just detailing cars. He used to sell cars in Mexico too. And here he started cleaning them, right? And then he was doing well. And then he's like, I want to open up my own little thing. So finally, after a few months, he bought a van. He bought vacuum, chemicals, all of that. And then me and him, I will work with him. We will go to houses and knock the door and be like, me, him, clean your car. We will try to explain it. Some people super nice. Yes, clean my car. Some of them, it was like every 2 weeks, some of them would just shut the door on their face, like, what the hell is happening, right?
Yep.
Some of them spoke Spanish, and he was like, oh my God, you speak Spanish, great,
Yeah.
So yeah, slowly, a little by a little bit, he started to, be more stable, and blah blah blah. Now he's back to selling cars, cleaning cars. He sells everything now. He doesn't speak 100% English, but he can defend himself. He's working for a good company, selling and buying cars and cleaning cars, and he does everything. So he's really good. So it's just a matter of sticking with it and working hard, and that's it.